Yeah, that's true. There were a lot of rumors, and Jhosse, as a former organizer, probably has a lot of insight on that as well.
Right. So,
yeah, go ahead.
sorry. So, in at least in the Lane Park area, for example, there was a couple rumors of a couple weekends that there was ICE raids and things of that nature. Unfortunately, it was a lot of fear that was spreading around the community. We weren't able to confirm those. However, there have been some ICE activity in Baltimore, and we are unfortunately expecting, as the new administration continues, that unfortunately there will be continued further ICE activity. So we have, with our organizing department, we have organized local community. I forgot how to translate it, but basically, like community watch groups, where if somebody sees ICE raids or ICE activities, they call our hotline, and we can see if we can dispatch a staff member or a volunteer to help triage any information, provide any legal services if need be, any rights. Our legal services have seen an uptick and requests with a lot of the things that are going on. We were at the Dallas airport during the implementation of the last executive action. So we're keeping in mind a lot of those things.
Yeah, and as Jhosse said, that these new rumors of raids happening everywhere is really causing a lot of terror in the community. A lot of people are afraid. So that's why, and that's a response to that is they'll post things on Facebook that might not be true, but out of trying to help their fellow immigrants, their community members, and so the things like that have been happening. And just to generally answer the question, there has been a lot of fear in the community. A lot of people are getting scared. People are trying to move to different areas. Some folks aren't sending their kids to school. Some folks are avoiding everything, police, education, everything. Right?
And then CASA is working in the community to provide Know Your Rights workshops, so that community members who might be undocumented or have questions about what their rights are can learn about them, because in this country, everyone, regardless of immigration status, has certain civil rights that cannot be infringed upon. So we have these Know Your Rights workshops that we have been doing for a long time now. We've been providing them a lot more since the election, and foresee providing a lot more of them because of that. I brought some material in English and in Spanish about the Know Your Rights workshops. We've been doing them in schools, community centers, churches, both in Maryland, Virginia, and Pennsylvania. And we're also just reminding folks that even though there is all this fear, that we want, at least in Montgomery and Prince George's, we want them to call the police if they need help, because the last thing we want is for somebody who is in need of assistance and for fear of immigration or ICE to not call the police. At least in Montgomery County and Prince George's County, we have an understanding with the local police enforcement, that they are not cooperating with ICE. They are not they are not listening to, or they're not validating detainers. So if someone is arrested for a certain charge, if ICE wants to come get them, they can, but the police will not hold them in excess of the amount of time that they are going to need to be held for any processing or something like that. And so we are reminding folks that, call the police. Your local police officer is not your enemy. They are your friend. And to just remind and keeping people with that state of mind and knowing their rights.
We've been active in supporting work towards the Maryland Trust Act in Annapolis. What can you tell us about what we should do next to help that pass, and maybe explain it to people who don't know about that legislation yet?
Well, the trust, like Jhosse was saying, there's agreements with the police officers that they won't release information of people that they arrest, but that's not guaranteed, right? We need legislation to make sure that they stay true to that promise. So what the Trust Act does pretty much is doesn't allow for local police to work in coordination with ICE, with the immigration services. So they won't hold people, if they arrest somebody, they won't hold them for longer than they should. They won't take their information and transfer it over to ICE, things like that. So do you have any
Yeah,
questions?
and then this is at the state level. So what we have right now is, the agreements with the local law enforcement. This would be at the state level. So all counties in Maryland, state troopers and things of that nature, they would all fall under the Trust Act. So that, like as Rodrigo mentioned, they would not validate detainers. They would not request people's immigration status. And work with programs like 287G, I think, which is like, for example, in Frederick County, if you are detained by a police officer and they can ask you about your immigration status, and there has been cases of that. So this at the state level would really just supersede that and ensure that local police enforcement agencies would not be taking on ICE responsibilities. The idea of the Trust Act is that it enforces the trust with the community, so that an immigrant won't be afraid of calling police if they need help or if they see a crime, because they know that there won't be any immigration implication against them.
I saw you first, then the woman in the shirt here, then
I'm sorry, we didn't get to what we could do to help
I'm
make
sorry.
this act pass.
Yes.
Well, what we can all do as Maryland residents is reach out. Most importantly, reach out to the President of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Maryland. So those two individuals are key. They're critical to this current movement, because they're the ones who have the influence right now. Right now, there's a lot of support in the House and the Senate. We have enough support to pass the bill, but that doesn't mean the governor won't veto it. But so we want to get it to the point where it can't be vetoed. So by doing that, by reaching out to the President of the Senate and the Speaker of the House, you inform them that you want the Trust Act to be passed, and they'll pass the word to all the other senators and delegates who are still might be on the fence on it, to get it to the point where it can't be vetoed. And that's the goal. That's the ultimate goal.
We'll send out email addresses for Mike Miller and Mike Bush. Those are the two Senate leadership involved.